Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I want to talk about if you're a small business and you're not ranking in the top 100 on Google. All right, this is a problem that I see often with newer businesses that have only been around a few years, maybe less, and they're not ranking anywhere in the top 10 pages of search results. And it's often in competitive fields. All types of different small businesses suffer from this. But here's a checklist of things that you should do. And if you do these things, you'll probably be somewhere up in the top 2 or 3 pages just off the strength of these things alone. Maybe you'll even, get up to the first page for some of your terms. But this will at least get you on the board, and you'll be somewhere within the top 100 so you can start improving your ranking and start getting leads. All right, number 1, you got to look like a big brand. And what I mean by that is back in 2008, the then CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, told a group of people that worked at ad agencies that they want to, Google, meaning Google, they want to rank brands because that's the way that they, quote, sort out the cesspool. You have the big brands over here and you have everybody else over here. When it comes to trying to sort out billions and billions and billions of web pages and trying to determine who should rank for different things, one way to do it is to look for characteristics of a brand, signals that you are a big brand. There's a few things that you can do. Well, one, big brands, they look for leads on different places, like social media. They get customer acquisition from social media. So if you're a small business and you only have a website and a Facebook page, what you need to do is get a Twitter, a Pinterest, a LinkedIn company page. And to do that, you will have to have a LinkedIn account for one of your employees or yourself, and then add a company page from that. All right. And then you're also going to need an Instagram. And then if you want to add a YouTube or something like that, that will be good. But this will help Google identify you as a brand. Some other things that you can do to look like a big brand and to actually help your user signals is have a site that looks professionally made. Not something that you did DIY, but something that you hire somebody to do to make it look professional, make it look nice. And the reason why is Google seems to be using real user signals to identify who is creating good web pages and websites. And how would they do that? Well, they're using data from somewhere. My guess would be that it's probably from Chrome and Android. So they have both desktop and mobile covered with that. But the reason why I say that is I've noticed a trend over the past 18 to 24 months, and it still holds up now. Sites that seem to be professionally done and have a good design seem to rank higher. The only way that Google would be able to measure this is by using real user signals. Remember that half the sites in the world do not use Google Analytics and don't have Google Analytics installed, so that's not it. They're not measuring time on page or things like that. So they're measuring somehow what people do on the page and how people seem to react. Now remember that a long time ago they had a patent on, believe it or not, mouse movements that would seem to indicate that people are happy with a page. And I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but they are doing something that's able to measure it, because when all other things are equal, this seems to be a factor. Now, third thing that you can do, make sure that you have good content on your site. Now, what do I mean by that? If you Google a word count tool and you look at what's on page 1 or maybe even halfway down page 2 of the other competitor sites that you're trying to rank with, not Yelp or whatever else, but if you just copy and paste, so Control A to select all, Control C, and then Control V, paste that into the word count tool, and then do your own page that you're trying to rank against these, and you will see something. Most of the time, the pages that have a bigger word count seem to rank. Now, it's not just because that they have words, a larger set of words, but sites pages, I should say, specifically web pages that seem to have an amount of thin content, maybe 200 words, 100 words, less than that would definitely be a very thin content page. These things might not be all that great for Google to say like, hey, we should rank this. So definitely write out as much stuff as you can. Another thing that I'm noticing too, and especially when it comes to contractor sites, some other sites might vary. There's some other sites, real estate sites also follow into this. But if you have a contact form somewhere near the top of the page, you'll notice that a lot of your competitors that are ranking way at the top, they seem to have this. So look at what elements are on the page, look at like what people are doing. They're trying to get a conversion right away. So something to that, I would say. So try and get conversions with people submitting a contact form or maybe calling. That might be something that Google is somehow measuring to determine whether people are getting what they need, and make sure that you have fully fleshed out content on your page. If you need help with somebody like thinking of different things to say to make that page longer, you can look at like what your competitors are doing. But if you need to hire somebody to write, hire somebody to write that out and get ideas from what other people are doing. Make sure that you have enough content on that page to satisfy a search. Another thing that you need to do is make sure that you're getting backlinks from other websites. Now, foundational links that you're going to need. In most cases, Google is going to expect to see your business on certain sites. Now, we covered the social media, but definitely Google is going to expect to see you have a Google My Business listing. Now, whether you hide your address or not, if you work from home, you might choose to hide your address. But if you have a storefront or a shop or an industrial space or an office space that you're renting, then you need to have a Google My Business. You need to have a Yelp. Now, some people say, I don't like Yelp. I don't want to be on Yelp because people, give us bad ratings or whatever. It doesn't matter. Google expects to see you there if you're a legitimate business. Now, the other sites that you should be on and your business should be listed on: Better Business Bureau, yellowpages.com. Now, if you're a contractor, you're going to want to be on Home Advisor, Angie's List, and House at a bare minimum. And there's plenty of other sites that you can add to that as well that have to do with contracting, like Blue Book and all kinds of other ones. But those three specifically, if you're in home services as a contractor, so think roofing, HVAC, handyman, remodeling, anything like that, electrician, you're going to need to be on those. All right. Now, for other industries, it's going to vary a little bit, but you will see if you run this through any type of SEO tool. And again, if you don't know how to do this, have somebody help you, an SEO consultant or an SEO agency, have them help you with this. But you will notice that the sites that are at the top seem to have backlinks from many different websites. Now, once you have all these foundational types of sites, you can go to a site called White Spark, or there's another one called Bright Local, and they will help you build out what is called citations. Now, in the past, these were a little bit more important to local SEO, but they still are, the foundation of your backlinks. These are basically places that list your name, address, phone number, and website. And we call these NAPW citations. Now, there's all types of different sites that do this: Super Pages, Yellow Place. There's many different ones, but basically it's just confirming the information that Google already has. And there's some other sites as well that you probably should be on. Some of the other ones that you would do that have local relevance would be your local chamber of commerce, or if there's any industry specific types of sites that deal specifically with your industry. If you're a member and you have a link back to your site, sometimes you will notice that other people that are ranking, other businesses that are ranking above you, have these links and you don't, and that's part of why they're ranking. Google sees these things as making them a little bit more legitimate, so go out and get those links. Now, another thing that you need to do if you're a local business trying to survive, trying to come up in the ranks, is get good reviews, and not just on Google My Business, but also on Yelp, and then also on whatever industry specific sites that there are. Like I said, with contracting, that's Angie's List, Home Advisor, and House, but you're going to want to see this. Now, one way that you can determine what sites that you should be getting reviews on, if you Google your competitors and you see other sites that come up in their knowledge panel, there'll be a little section that says around the web, and it'll show reviews from other pages besides their Google My Business. So those other sites are the ones that you should be looking at. So Google all your top 20 competitors, look for that knowledge panel on the right hand side of the desktop version, and scroll down until you see from around the web, and then make note of what places they're getting reviews from. You should also go and do likewise. Now, I want to point out too, if you don't have very good reviews, you need to get some more good reviews, because when all other things are equal, Google is going to want to send people to a place that's like a 4.5 star or a 5-star place, as opposed to a 3-star or a 3.2 star or something like that. And definitely they don't want to send people to like a 1-star or a 2-star place. And if you have more than 5 reviews on each of these places, and you have kind of that middle of the road or like really not so good reviews, that's not going to be good for you. You need to do something internally to improve that, whatever it is, improve your product or improve your service or your customer service to where you're getting those good reviews. All right. So those are just the basics of what you need to do. And again, I want to reiterate what it is. Look like a big brand, have a good looking site, have adequate content on each of your pages that you're trying to go for, and then also build out your link profile, and then get good reviews. I mean, these are just the basic things, but if you do these and follow through with every single one of these steps that I've outlined in local SEO, you will do better. I want to close out by saying that in a lot of local situations with the local SEO, a lot of times what you're going to see at the top is sites like Yelp, and again, we'll go back to the contractors because that's the easy one. You'll see a lot of things like, Yelp, House, Home Advisor, Angie's List have a lot of these listings up at the top, because when people are searching for a specific thing, it's easy to choose from a whole selection of things, and often that makes people happy. For web designers, it's the same thing. Usually you will see Yelp, and you'll see UpCity, and you'll see Clutch up in the top 10. So for other local businesses, what this means is there's not 10 opportunities to be on page 1. Sometimes there's maybe 3 to 4 or maybe 6 or 7 opportunities. So that's what you really need to be aiming for, is to be like in the top 3 or the top 4 or the top 5. That's what you need to be aiming for. Oh, and one more thing that I want to add too that's very important. The local map, the map up at the top of the page that people always want to be included in, all right? That is not a map of the 3 best businesses that Google is saying, these are the 3 best for whatever you just searched. No, that's not what it is. It's either going to be the businesses that are closest to the person searching, or it's going to be businesses that are clustered around the center of that city, in most cases, that appear to have a decent review count, maybe like at least a 3 or a 3.5. It's going to be businesses clustered around that city. It's not the 3 best or anything like that. And if you're far away, if you're in a city that's like 50 or 60 miles away, but you're still trying to get that business, you're not going to appear in that map. I'm just telling you straight up, you're not going to appear in that map. If you're Googling something like, we'll say Charlotte, North Carolina HVAC, or Charlotte, North Carolina AC repair, and you're in a city that's 50 or 60 miles away, you're probably not going to show up in that. There's just too much competition, and you're not going to get there. So again, these are all good things to know with local SEO. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here as often as I can be, at least once a week, putting out videos on SEO. So give this a thumb up, give it a subscribe. I would appreciate that. And until next time, peace.